on root current energy that you're dealing with. I mean, I know I did a couple here for you in this last little bit that related around the good that's coming in is sort of the general energy. But overall, the current energy is looking very successful. It's looking very positive. So I thought I would do a little bit more based on that positive energy because I feel that the previous reads, a lot of them in the past have been quite negative, heavy energy for you. And I think we need a little bit of an upswing here. So when there is more positive, I feel like there should be more positive, also in the readings, and that shouldn't be halted. That should be something that's engaged in. So either way, I just want to go through what I see here. So when we're looking at I'm just going to go through it generally and then we'll go through it more specifically. So of course, the Four of Pentacles, we all know this is around holding on to things or being very attached to a particular outcome. But I do feel like there's a lot of withdrawn energy here, really hanging on to emotions. You're confused about some kind of emotional state or have been. And there's been a lot of withdraw energy where you've just been pulling back, and even with the resources in terms of finances, things have been a little bit more restrictive, both emotionally as well as financially. And that's just sort of the current energy has been. So you're kind of moving through that now, of course. And I'll give it more detail as well. But as we get to the World card, of course, this is in along the lines of being a little more freed up. Everything is more, this is more victorious. I feel like you've been quite resilient, certainly with the Strength card and all of that coming in here. And I really have focused very much on the Lion and the Bull or whatever here at the bottom, but it seems like it's a ferocity. There's a certain level of intelligence and so on that has come into play here that's really helped you to get to this victory or this level of accomplishment. And it is going to bring in a wish fulfillment for you. So whether this is coming in this month, for some of you, it may be, it's a general read. You are all making different decisions on different dates, so you're not all going to match it up week to week. But either way, the World card is indicating that there is a finished result here, and it's a very positive one. The outcome is in your favor, and it certainly speaks to something advantageous. That it's a wish fulfillment that's coming through here. Something you've wanted is now emotionally coming towards you. And so, and this has just been in the cycle of time, like I said, with that World card. There is the Page of Swords here as well. So I feel like there is something on the other hand where you're trying to pursue or upscale your skill level. There's a talent that's coming in here. You're definitely putting a lot of time and energy and reading and research. And it's news that's coming in as well that's in around a work front or work situation, something about more money that's kind of coming through, some kind of information on that level. And also with the Page of Pentacles, even though this is a little further out, there is some level of abundance that is on your doorstep. And again, whatever that is for you, I mean, everybody has a different level of meaning around the idea of success, different level of, the Empress can also represent that nurturing and that caring. And I feel like that's what's coming through for you. There could even be some kind of small token in terms of a younger person or something that's coming through with some kind of a small token that, toward a mother figure or something along that line where there could be even a little bit more of I'm not seeing strong unity and all of that, but I am seeing a small token or a gesture that does kind of impact you in a very positive way. With the Strength card as well, I mean, you've had the strength, you've had the persistence to get through a situation that relates possibly again around children or something from the past where you've really had to build on, put a lot of time and effort and energy into something. And again, you're on the doorstep of, some kind of advantage. So again, we'll just kind of go through it here again. So when we get to the Four of Pentacles, like I said, this is all about that withdrawn energy where you were just sort of pulling back, kind of taking a look at some of the resources here as well. But with that Seven of Cups, there's been a lot of confusion around a particular situation. I don't feel emotionally you have been feeling very, well, I mean, you are resilient, but I don't feel like you've been feeling very solid something emotionally, and maybe even on the front of finances, like I said here, because I feel like this is indicating some kind of level of emotional confusion. This is all about feeling a little indecisive about something here. So it's definitely around finances, and it definitely is around maybe work or career oriented projects. There's some sense, sorry, my connection goes in and out here. Before you make any pursuit toward a goal or a dream, you're kind of clinging to something of, you're exploring some of these possibilities here before you just jump in, because there has been some frustration around trusting and maybe even trusting your intuition, but there's definitely been some levels of some trust issues here. I do feel like you're taking responsibility for your own happiness in this period. I definitely feel like you're gaining some kind of clarity and guidance next short little while, but it is definitely leading you to a level of self-awareness. This is definitely feeling much more like you're giving back to yourself, or feeling as though, you have better understanding, you feel more significant. It's things along that line where you're really feeling a lot more whole in some way. There's spiritual growth, there's emotional growth, it's all of those things, and it's even building on the possibility of some kind of new dream, or a portion of the dream that's coming through here, because like I said, the world energy, sorry guys, the world energy with the Nine of Cups definitely speaks to an end cycle. You have achieved some sense of inner peace, some sense of wholeness, some sense of, personal contentment, because this is emotional satisfaction. So there is some kind of wave of something positive that's coming in here for you, and it's something that you've wanted. It is, it's moving into a new phase of your life here as well, because the World card means that you've just completed some cycle. And again, this is where there's new opportunity that's coming in for you. And this is an accomplishment of that. So it means that the lessons don't stop, and you may be faced with the same lesson again. But because you've already learned the lessons and you've put in the hard work and you've done the research, this is where you move through things a lot faster when you're countering it. This is how you're leveling up. It's not one lesson learned and never have to see it again. It's lesson learned, and now when I'm faced with that situation, I move through it faster because I've dealt with, that aspect of the journey. And there's a lot more of a culmination of answers, to that phase. So you can move into your achievements faster. But either way, I feel like this is a new opportunity you're about to embark on. And it's going to be a very abundant one. So, and not even just abundant and nurturing and giving back to yourself. It feels like it's more loving toward you as well. There's blessings in this reading. There is happiness in this reading. There is wish fulfillment in this reading. This is about an accomplishment and a blessing that's coming in, and it's going to be sometime very, very soon in the month of September. Again, the weeks and so on will be a little bit different for all of you. You're making decisions, different dates, times, all of that. But it's where you're actually able to focus on what matters to you, around your happiness, your levels of happiness. And again, the World card is a significant milestone. If we were looking at all the major arcana here, it's the World, it's the Strength, and it's the Empress. These are big, big cards. September is very transformative for you in a lot of ways. It's like conclusive energy because of your persistence, and it's almost like you have a better sense of yourself. So you are able to attain your goals and wish fulfillment because you actually know what your wishes are. You know what your challenges have been and where the opportunities lay, and you're willing to put in some time and effort. And there's a lot of that going in here to strive for better, you know, when I see this is still more hard work, more research that's coming in here with the page, but it definitely speaks to getting back into things, getting back into the swing of things. This is where, there's a new open-minded sort of seeking knowledge kind of feel with the Page of Swords, but it's also information that's coming into you about a work situation or about a new direction or something about money making here that you're going to be pursuing. The Page of Swords, like I said, is also you improving and developing your talents, especially with a lot of hard work coming out of it with the Eight of Pentacles. And I do feel this is where you should stay focused, because this is really focused energy here when I'm looking at the Page of Swords. Very, very focused energy. So you have the persistence. You're definitely willing to face the obstacles, one by one as they come up, because you're really focused on your learning. You're really focused on the hard work and the dedication that's required to get there. So I definitely feel like you have success mind. Your success mind is coming back in here. So whatever energy we're dealing with previously, I feel like you're getting back your mojo, or whatever you want to call it. So when we get to the Strength card, again, this is about being a lot more confident, and it's also about having that faith in oneself, definitely after a difficult time. And it feels like somehow that difficult time related around something of childhood, or dealing with children, or dealing with something from the past. There's a nostalgic feel here because it does represent want a happier time that's coming through for you. You know, I mean, the Strength card is sort of where you keep pushing and you're approaching your problems with confidence and determination, but you're also in that space of, you know, you're starting to see that there is something that's coming back. And it's not, you know, it indicates that you are not being held back. You know, this is where there's a carefree time, something that's more lighthearted coming through, something that is also going to be beneficial for you, that feels like it's emotional growth, it's healing, it's all of that, and it's having faith in oneself. So to overcome all of these problems and obstacles, I just feel like you're going to thrive more so in the month of September. And definitely it's an expansive energy with the Empress. And of course, we've got the Page of Pentacles here. So this is also in around that energy of, uh, again, just with that Strength card. And also because we have 2 pages here, you could be dealing with younger people here as well, but it's almost like it represents old wounds and those kinds of things kind of healing, because you're reconnecting to a part of self or reconnecting to something of the past. But either way, it's emotional healing and growth in a relationship of some sort. So again, it just, you are not just looking back to, you know, something nostalgic. I don't feel like that's the energy. I feel like there's actually some sense of healing around memories of a childhood or something around that energy here with the wound of childhood or something from the past. Either way, you definitely are in a space where there is something from the past where it's actually moving to a happier space. So and it's a growing space. It's not just moving into the space, it's actually growing. Again, even in terms of your professional life, you know, something emotionally, you know, that could have affected you in that way is also relevant here as well. So it's either way, there's a lot of different aspects that kind of come through here, and it's going to speak to you all a little bit differently. When we get to the Page of Swords, or yeah, no, I think I did go through that one. There's new insights coming in around work or some development around skills and honing your craft, that kind of thing. Definitely about more learning and that kind of thing as well, as I mentioned. But I feel like you're super focused, super patient, but persistent, really persistent. And getting clear on how you're moving into this new space of money, new space of hope, that kind of thing. When we get to, what did I not touch on? Oh, that's right, the Empress. So when we get to the Empress and the Page of Pentacles, this is in around that space of, again, feeling more whole, feeling more enlightened, feeling better about yourself all around. This is creativity, this is motherhood, this is nurturing, all of that. It's definitely, you know, a very grounded, loving energy that's coming through here. And it speaks to something where you just feel like you are in a space of hope. And it definitely is around financial security. Granted, albeit this is more of a small token of that. So it's like there is a slight sense of hope around your financial security, but you know there's going to be growth and stability up ahead with this. And it's definitely going to be something that you're intending to explore, and it feels like it's more than one consideration here toward whatever determination or ambition or whatever it is you're facing. But again, either way, determined spirit, and you definitely have something that's coming through that symbolizes material prosperity and self-awareness. And this is a card of enlightenment in a lot of ways too, just because of all the pursuit of pushing through something and getting to that space. But even when you are dealing, just as a side note, when you're dealing with things that are in around, you know, levels of confusion, how you can sort of deal with coping with some of those levels of confusion, of course, is all of the grounding things, you know, looking at your triggers, breathing into the trigger, and all of those things. But it's also about taking a look at some of the things the ways that you talk to yourself, and trying to write things out to be a lot more decisive. Sometimes when we leave it in our head, it's really more of a to-do, and it just ruminates and we go round and round and round. So it's kind of, when you actually write it out, it has more of an ability to, you know, get rid of some of the distracting additional comments that we might add into a scenario here that makes it even more, you know, confusing. But either way, I just feel like there's a lot of hope in this reading, and definitely, so we'll just kind of recap it here as well. And you want to take a look at some of the things as well, like I said, that are confusing. Maybe it's because you're trying to take on too many ideas at once. Just try to focus on the one. And I feel like you're getting into that energy with the Page of Swords. So that is very positive. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of recap here. So again, when we get to the Four of Pentacles, fours are all about that grounded energy. It certainly speaks to you being kind of pulled back here. In turn, like it's a lot of new energy, like the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, all of that sort of speaks to information coming in, but it's kind of a student apprentice, or at least, trying to do some self-improvement here is what I feel is coming in for September for sure. So whatever that means to you, reading books, re-educating yourself, or you're just engaging in something that makes you feel like you've got a lot more interest in. And so of course there's also some kind of message in around work or information around job. It's good news of some sort here as well, in around levels of abundance and the nurturing and all of that. So I feel like there is going to be some kind of message or communication. I feel like your confidence is really going up here as well, like I mentioned, because I feel like you're getting a lot more attention in a certain sort of way as well. And I feel like that's due to your level of confidence improving. I don't feel like it is victory kind of look at me sort of confidence. It's just overall, I have a better sense of who I am and how I'm going forward. You do have a new curiosity here. And again, that's where you start to do some of the intellectual work here, where you're putting, you're approaching things this month or this period, where you're trying to, could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, also relevant, but very relevant because I see that in quite a few cards. But I definitely feel like this is around trying to get, like I said, really focused energy around what it is that you want in terms of a work situation or how you're making extra money. Something along that line seems to be a lot of the pairing anyway. I just feel as well that you're willing to do whatever it takes to you're a really powerful thinker here. So I definitely feel like you're willing to do whatever it takes to kind of get back on top, that kind of thing, to kind of get back onto whatever page you feel you were somehow denied or veered away from or whatever. I feel like you're trying to get back on top again or in control of all of that. The energy around let's see here. And again, this is a lot of emotional fulfillment too. Not so much energy in terms of, expending a lot of energy. It feels like it's still more in the intellectual, but some practical grounded ideas. Like it's energy that I would say would be one foot in front of the other. You get clear on an idea, you write down what the next step or transition is into this next space. And that's kind of where I feel you're at. Doesn't feel like you're making driving steps. There's definitely some action, of sorts because there's abundance here, but it still feels like it's more along the lines of something more receptive, something that's coming in to find you, that kind of thing. And it's obviously from something you've done in the past or some efforts that you put through, because there's a lot of emotional happiness that makes you feel like you are thought of or considered, or again, it's nurturing energy. With the Empress, like I said, could be dealing with a mother figure here as well, but I just feel like you're in that space of being a lot more open. You're starting out being very closed off, and certainly there's been a lot of emotional confusion and certainly some withdraw energy around finances. But by the end of this period, I feel like you're in a space of confidence. You're definitely feeling like your ideas actually have some merit and are starting to grow. I do feel like you have that space around you of, uh, feeling more loving, feeling more, like I said, more like you want to connect to people. There's more beauty in your life. There's more pleasure in your life in some way. Somehow you're more open here is what I would say. And either way, even with the Page of Pentacles, like I said, it's very grounded energy. So it feels like it's a small token of some sort, but it's something that's enough to give you a sense of, I'm moving in the right direction and everything is going okay. I've got a little hope in the wings here. So when we get to the Strength card again, as I said, with that Six of Cups energy, it is still something around the energy of dealing with something from the past. Again, it could be children or an old goal or dream or something like that, but it's an issue that may have been around a family event here as well. But I just feel like there's some more hope in this old memory, or in this, maybe you thought it was a missed opportunity, although I don't really see the Four of Cups out here. But either way, it still feels like it's something that you are returning back to, that seems to be you've had to push through. So it might have been a challenging issue around something from the past, but it definitely feels like it is moving in your favor. So it's like something has resurfaced, and it's certainly kind of a rekindling of good things coming through that make you very happy. Um, when we talk about well, of course, well, I guess with the world and the Nine of Cups, I mean, I guess we can just go right into the world. Like I said, there is definitely some end of a cycle here. So again, you've got a real strong energy of, it's not I'm done with all lessons in this area, but the energy is you pursued something. It's the emotional aspect seems to be what we're really focusing on. So it feels like the emotions were where things were pretty imbalanced, and the world is now opening up to you in that area. So it feels like, I mean, this is a card, as I said before, it's a self-actualization card, but it definitely speaks to um, more along the lines of a completion. Something is coming in that's going to bring you a lot of wish fulfillment. It's going to bring you a certain level of fulfillment, period. And again, for some of you, this could revolve around travel or some news of that, something like that. But for the most part, it is something that you've wanted, something you've been waiting for, and it just feels like it is around abundance and it's emotional harmony. And somehow it's also creating a certain level of balance for you emotionally. Like I said, because this is this is a card of deeper meaning, where when you get to the world, this is where you've kind of transcended something. It's a cycle, that's ended, that's as good as it gets. Like it's an achievement for sure. Um, so when we talk about like the Pentacle cards, of course, these are all about sort of the practical cards. So these are more along the lines of some of the smaller steps and the things that you have to do. The big energy, like I said, is you're much more confident, you're much more nurturing, more self-actualization, more understanding, abundance to you, and it is going to come. Again, this is more the clarifier further out, but that is wish fulfillment for sure coming into you. But you definitely have a lot of things here that speak to, that's a 9 cycle. So 9 is, I mean, there's only a 10 that follows, and this is something that's going to really give you a lot of hope. 9 is about a conclusion, some lesson you've emotionally dealt with and have integrated in some way is going to allow you to move up to the next stage of, something that has more hope to you anyway. And like I said, I mean, it's emotional, whatever this is. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to put my, just going to do a window down here again. Okay. So again, when we're talking about the Nine of Cups, super amazing energy. You're in a very positive space. You have abundance coming through, and it's really going to make you feel ecstatic. I feel like this is putting you back on top of the world because this is being proud of an achievement. This is about that satisfaction. Like I said, it's a wish coming true, and it's because you were disciplined and held steadfast with something, and it's now bringing you emotional satisfaction. So it's almost like you've trusted yourself enough that you're now able to expand something around your level of, uh, around a level of, like I said, whatever abundance means to you. It's going to be different for all of you. Your personal vision will be different. So but either way, this is really well-adjusted energy in terms of kind of coming full cycle from over here being restricted, confused emotionally, not really sure, how to kind of go forward. And then all of a sudden, it's like something comes in and takes you into a very pleasurable sort of space and allows you to trust your luck again. It's the world, but it's not the wheel of fortune, but it definitely has, amazing energy that goes with it, with that. So that is, maybe I'll just see one last thing here. Just kind of look for a conclusive energy here. I pulled out some other cards here, and I thought maybe I would read these also. We're talking about the Oracle 7 energies. I'll read that from the book. That's the Colette Baron Reed card. So I'm just going to start out with, I'll pull these forward. So we've got the Merry Motive, we've got Seeing Beyond, we've got a Deep Breath, and I'll pull the other ones forward here in just a second, just lack of space. So we'll start with these. Okay, so when we get to, this is also the main energies that are sort of surrounding you right now. So Merry Motive, of course, is in around that energy of feeling a lot more understanding about yourself, your world, the things around you, and it feels like you have a certain amount of momentum and drive to get somewhere. You've got the wisdom behind it to really make things happen. So this is about knowing a destination, chasing that destination. And it's also about taking a look at how you feel about yourself and all of those things, and surrendering to any expectations that you might have had. And now you're just focusing on what's the most important aspects to consider. And that's where you're going to place your focus. That's sort of a repeat, really, of the tarot, as what I had just indicated there. So it's also, again, it's the wisdom behind your intentions, is what the book details. But it's also, when you look for abundance, it has an uncanny way of multiplying in your life. So this is about dig deep into why you want that abundance, and then you'll match it. You'll match your intention. So it's also looking into seeing beyond. Like I said, this is also that energy of having to kind of look into the intuitive aspects of things. So what's your vision is really what it boils down to. It's, imagining something beyond the material, or beyond the obvious, and really taking a look at your old way of doing things and how you need to grow to move things into the new direction. So it's talking about, well, it actually references, that we're all gifted with the magical ability of imagination. And when you're open to it, you become a conduit to, divine intervention, where you actually start to get insights, and that projects into the real world as well as options and possibilities. So again, it's getting rid of the things, the old way that isn't working, and it's also being open to allowing your imagination to find what is right for you, and then you just move into that place. So it's about seeing the possibilities and having the potential, and realizing that potential is real. So it's also where you can reimagine your vision over and over, add strength to it each time. And it's also about taking the next few steps in your imagination. And that's where you're co-creating, of course. So when we get to a deep breath, it's also where you're slowing things down, and it's really stopping to smell the roses. It's all of that. It's the part of yourself where we oftentimes don't really slow down, enjoy what it is that we're looking at, and living in the moment. So we go through it, not really enjoying all the effort and the time that we put into something, and we don't recognize how far we've actually come. So this is really that space of taking a look at that distracted us before. How did that get into our mindset that caused fear, or redirected us, or made us repeat a lesson? What were the things that we don't want to have to learn again? These are sort of the things that you need to look at, that were maybe the difficult parts of your life, and were maybe playing too much of a role in how your outcomes about being happy were controlling your life. So again, choose love over fear is what the card really indicates, and all will be well. Then we get to, there's 3 more left. Then we get to the root of abundance. And definitely this is an amazing card here in itself as well. This speaks to the same thing, being really grounded, abundance coming through for you. And it's definitely recognizing that you're stable. You're more stable in this period, because you are anchored, or you feel more secure in some way. Because you realize there's a potentiality here that is allowing you to manifest your intentions. So there's something you are putting vested interest into in terms of your hopes and your dreams. You're feeling really grounded in your project. It feels like you are going to thrive here. This is really growth, and it's not always going to follow a straight line, as the card indicates, but it is something that you are grounded and anchored. And so whatever decision you make in this space is going to it's laid, a good foundation has been laid, so you can trust the process because you're doing the research. We also have you looking at that space of being open to discover. So this is where you're getting small bits of information that's coming through. And I feel like, as I said, with that Page of Swords, you're collecting information, you're transforming those ideas, and then you're transferring that information into something more practical, because that Page of Pentacles came out as well. So you're integrating the information that you're exposing yourself to, whether it's on the internet or otherwise, but somehow you're able to shift that and grow it and expand it. So I feel like you're really in a very intentional way of processing information. So I feel like you're really connected, to learning. And I feel like that's a strong element here. Learning or research, or really putting a lot of focus on those aspects this month. Then we also have exposed and revealed. This, of course, is that energy of anything that was hidden from you before is now going to be exposed. This goes for things within yourself as well as around you. So this is, if you felt like you were an imposter and things were not, you weren't being true to you, whatever that shame was or whatever that restrictive, unresolved wound was, this is where you're actually finding some beauty in yourself. And that underlying beauty in rejection. So, if you experience shame about something that you felt you weren't good enough, or you were flawed in some way, this is where you're starting to express things in a more healthy way. So again, you're feeling much more confident, you're resolving your issues, you are aware of those inner pain points, as the card indicates, but it's also energy that you're no longer putting into those aspects, you're actually redirecting it. So it's not going into toxicity, it's going into things that allow you more healing and freedom and growth. So again, really powerful month for you, because you've really gained a new powerful position and perspective. And again, it's setting you free in a lot of ways. So that is amazing energy. Like I said, September is completely transformative for you, and it's really giving you back your mojo. So I'm going to say kudos, cheers, good for you. And like I said, anything that is opening up on the path looks worth the exploration. So that's what I have for you, Libra, as current energy, and keep moving forward. This is a positive momentum that you don't want to lose.